from the Council of Pixie Principles. According to the animal spirit totem, according to the animal spirit totem bylaws, and on behalf of the intuitives, muses, and oracles, whom have reincarnated into this earthling experience to declare and define and defend the elements of civil human rights, homestead safety, and clean food and water, especially since they had absolutely nothing to do with the frames and costs of bottled water being the only source of hydration, being the only source of hydration, and even this costs monies. What does this mean for the penniless and the homeless? So, this is what we are putting our attention on today. Or should I say, in this, right in this moment? This is what we are putting our attention on today, right in this moment. Sometimes I'll be feeling like, which I know that I'm not, but most often it makes me feel like I'm the only one listening or paying attention and then it's like, well, what can I do? Me by me, me by myself. And right now, it might be all depending on the context. It might be far fetched for me to know, for me to say that I am penniless and homeless. Technically, I am not, but socially, I am. So I'm more on the figurative sense, and yet my heart continues to direct my mind, requiring and provoking my attention to pay attention to those that are living the literal sense of have not. Uh, so, real quick, checking in with Roland Martin, as I do every day. Even though sometimes I be wishing I could talk to Roland Martin because so much that they speak about is so foreign to me, but I stick with it because what one of the things that I know to be the truth is that even when you are allowed in the room, but you just sit at the helm. Like I literally would go sit beside Roland Martin right on the floor by his knees. Just hear him speak. I would love to sit on the floor with Roland Martin and Dr. Carr. OMG. I want to be their niece so bad. I want to be their niece so bad. Like just come and let's have round table. Let's, yeah. But okay, so I'm not gonna get beside myself because one thing that I said I wasn't going to do is try to uh, project my superhero syndromes onto folks because I know that even in those spaces, they honestly are doing everything and then some. They are connecting dots like nobody's business. To me, this feels like the Omni Golden Era. And me making mention of these two fellas inside of this frequency does not mean that, and it plays into my challenge to not want to do this superhero leader thing. I have to dial that back because I always want to. I always want to um, be appointing, even if it's just in my mind, be appointing these these superhuman, supernatural leadership. That's way too many. Okay, just so you see, that's a lot of damn cards. I don't know. Should I? Yeah, I'm gonna take them because it might be some. It might be getting ready to tell me something. Look at that. Yeah, it might be getting ready to tell me something. Okay, let's see. All right, okay. All right, let's see what it's saying. Let's see. The Wounded Warrior, and I think I am going to pull out the guidebook just so we can stay clear on what certain things mean. So that is the Nine of Wands. Okay, so Ten of Swords, Nine of Wands, King of Pentacles, which I believe this is the energy that is coming in to help begin reconciling this thing. Because the king with the money, okay, let me keep going. The Knight of Wands, passion, yeah, money and passion, transformation, money, passion, and transformation. Honey, listen. Ah, okay, wait a minute, hold on. The Two of Wands, we still looking for, we waiting on it. The Three of Pentacles and the Five of Swords. Okay. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. Okay. At every turn, when I think about the humans, the what did I call it? Because I think we need to put it together. I don't think it should be civil rights and human rights. I think it should be civil human rights. I think, in my opinion, I believe because we kept it separate because we want to do human rights and then civil rights, it's regardless of the effort, it still lent us a whole bunch of backstabbings. It's at every turn. When I think about the civil rights movement, or even the combination of the civil rights movement and the rights movement, it always makes me think about Penelope Pitstop. You remember Penelope Pitstop? So think about society and the societal agendas with regards to the have-nots. Because see, it even gets a little tricky for me to continue to say folks that look like me. Because every like 100% that look like me are not suffering, or not suffering to the extent that they worry about clean water and clean food. Because remember, those with the budget to support that, they're able to eat clean and drink clean. They are able to buy bottled water. And then they walk around this world judging those that have not, as if they too can eat clean and pay for bottled water. If you have no money, where you going to get a bottled water? Like, just think about that for a moment. Where can you go if you have not a penny to your name and get proper the amount of water you need to properly hydrate on a daily basis? Where can you go? And don't tell me the shelter, because everybody has to be registered for the shelter. Not everybody is in tune to be in them in that recycled air like that, under those type of conditionings, rendering themselves to even more programming. Because remember, you wouldn't be homeless if you were a worker. If you were a worker of this society, you wouldn't be homeless. Is that true? Or is that what's always is that the narrative? That's the narrative. You know that's the narrative. That is the progressive narrative. If you don't work, you don't eat. And I always say that sounds like the evolutionary sharecropping motif if I've ever heard it. Because tribes don't operate that way. Tribes don't operate that way. I had to work for it, so no, so do you. Tribes don't operate that way. Inside of a tribe, everybody eat. Homelessness. So what did I say? Penniless and homelessness. Because even the food that they claim is free is not clean. It is all of that processed shit that don't nobody else want. That's the type of food you get when you don't have any money. So you don't get quality food. You don't get quality shelter. And I have been in some of these shelters. Society ought to be fucking shame of itself for the way that it treats the have nots as if it is somehow dealing with its non constituency. And when you're talking about the American constituency of the have nots, those that are penniless and homeless are tired of being criminalized and being punished for their poverty as if the fucking game ain't rigged. And so, who gets rewarded? Those that know how to truly play the game or know how to hustle the game. And even those that know how to hustle the game are always looking over their shoulder because that's getting criminalized too. Oh, it always has been. Let me say that. It's always been criminalized. So then you got old boy over here, and I'm talking about masculine energy. I am not necessarily talking about a guy per se, but I'm talking about the masculine energy that controls the coins. Because how is it that you have a deficit over here and a surplus over here, and it's all part of the same society? Then that means there is some mismatching going on. There's some lopsided assness going on here. That's what that means. That's what that means. That means it is a whole shitload of money mismanagement. And then those that have not will still get judged for not knowing, as if as if there isn't strategy about that, as if there aren't gatekeepers and guardians on the pulse of opportunities. Even the fucking employment realm is rigged. But those that have honestly are numb to those that have not. And they now have even situated the way they navigate the world where they don't even have to go into the pockets of the have nots, don't even have to acknowledge their existence. But then I say, here come this Knight of Wands. I say the Knight of Wands is going to be joining the wounded warriors. That's what I'm saying here. That's what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing here that those with passion, something tells me those with passion are going to be talking to those with the coin. And they're going to be staking the claim of the wounded warriors. And then here comes that transformation. We always be figuring death means the absolute. Now, transition from this earthly realm, it does leave a void and it feels really, really sorrowful and bad to those that continue to exist in the realm. So the absence of one's loved one in human or the absence of one's loved ones in physical form from this realm, that death, yes, it has its voids, it is full of grief, but the real interesting part about that is if it would somehow begin to be looked at as transformation, they transcended out of their physical embodiment, but the spirit of the being is now omnipresent. And so it's now vibratory frequency. And all you have to do is feel it. But because of the void of the absence, the only thing that we feel is grief. If we could transmute that grief, then I guarantee you many of us will look at death differently. You literally will, yeah, literally, and probably so much more so could speak to that being that's now out of flesh, that's now out of embodiment. Transformation, I believe, with regards to penniless and homelessness is coming full circle. Because remember, the United States of America is going through its Pluto return. And because it's going through its Pluto return, there are things that it's going to have to look at. It can't run from it, hide from it. It can no longer bamboozle. Anytime Pluto come for you, whether you are a person, place, or thing, you gotta know transformation is upon you. Transformation is upon you. Transformation is upon you. Now this is a actually this is a I wanted to say tough love, but it's not that. It's not a mm, it's it's more than that. It's that and then some. It's not coming to me right now. The words are not coming to me. Oh, you know what? And I'm now trying to figure out, okay, which one came after that. But something tells me it's like this. So just beyond the threshold, just beyond the maturity of transformation, will then be the rebirth of the more balanced way. And anytime I see the triangle, oftentimes I talk about the significance of the number three for me. This always feels like triangle. I mean, this always feels like tricycle movement, like big wheel movement. That's what it reminds me of. So when I think about the Triskelion or I think about things in three, especially if I'm talking about like triangular or pyramidal, is that a word? The likeness of the pyramid or the symbology of the pyramid and what it all means. I think about big wheels. I think about tricycles. I think about movement. And it doesn't even have to be forward movement because I think in terms of circles. So I don't very rarely do I speak linear. So if I do say moving forward, it's probably like a one or two ticks because sometimes I'm a believer in Sankofa and sometimes you got to go back and get it. So I believe in spirals, like the spiral staircase, and that allows you to move up and down. Even though linear, you can move back and forth. You can move back and forth. You can move up and down. That's what you can do. So maybe I'll say that just movement. Period. Just movement. Period. I think gonna be part of this transformation where there will be more people that are going back and getting it. Meaning the ones that tell us about the historical connectors. Because many of us are trying to judge to this time and space blindly. There's too many blanks that need to be filled in. And just like Dr. Carr say, who are we to each other? That chimes into me every time I hear him say that. It puts it in the forefront of who are we to each other? Whether you on the whether you in the front office or the back office or you out in the field, who are we to each other? Which gives us something to look forward to. It gives us something adequate and something purposeful and beneficial to look forward to. It gives us a threshold by which we may place our expectations, and it primes them from being outlandish or too unrealistic. And I use that word unrealistic sparingly only because I believe in probability and possibility. I've seen things come from out of nowhere. I've seen people, places, and things come from out of nowhere. It wasn't even part of the mode of thought, wasn't part of none of that. And next thing you know, it's like, hey, here I am. Here I am. So with all of this, it tells me that it is still very purposeful that we are dealing with these individualized intrapersonal conflicts, because everyone that have not, in my opinion, are wounded warriors, especially the penniless and the homeless, the ones that we want to act like don't exist, like Maya Muna Youssef say, the ones under your floorboard that you would like to forget. Team Moo Fresh, go check her out if you really you want some you want some musical teachings, or should I say you want some teachings, you want some rhythmic harmonized teachings, you want some teachings with a beat to it. Go check out My Moon and Youssef. And if you don't know how to spell it, just put in Moo Fresh, Mu Fresh. Yeah. So one's inner conflict, our especially our collective inner conflict, it is readily available to be transmuted, to be transformed, to be morphed. There's a thing to the butterfly effect. Which way does she go? Let's do that. Yeah. There's a thing to the butterfly effects. There's a theme. There's a theme to one's inner conflict. I wonder if we can begin to treat our inner conflict as seeds. Remember Jack and the Beanstalk? I seem to be using that. Is it an allegory? I don't know. That doesn't feel right now. But I've been using it as a form of sample and example, metaphorically speaking, around the whole thing of how he came across the bag of beans, what his mama did with regards to him trading the cow for the beans, the faith in him actually planting. Because remember, while all of that was going on, he was in inner conflict because, for one, he didn't want to disappoint his mom. For two, it's like, did I really do a fucked up thing? Like, are these worthless? Did I actually trade in our only means of income for this useless bag of beans? Well, you know what? All right, I already got the satchel. I got the beans. Let me go and plant them. I have no idea what's going to happen, and it could be a fluke, and I could have just cost our family all of our money. But let me go and plant them. Let me just go ahead on and plant them. Let me plant them. Let me go on and plant them and see what happens. Now, this it doesn't mean that the planting of those seeds automatically went away, because there was such an adventure for Jack to go ahead on and find out and explore and tap into the unknown to see exactly what was going on. And yet and still, let me see what happens. Let me see what happens. Because if I don't see what happens, this will continue. Let me see what happens. Can I go see what happens? And then while I'm on the adventure to see what happens, who we run into? Who we run into? So I think this is good. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Oh, we already saw what was on the bottom of the deck. Well, I wonder if this is a reminder or if this is the outcome. Is this the reminder or the outcome? I think that's probably like the reward and the mystery, because until we plant it and see, because in the sample of Jack and the Beanstalk, he actually survived. He survived the giant that was hoarding everything and he went up against. He survived it while all of those around him were in turmoil and walked away from him. Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna leave it on the King of Cups. Something tells me that the care, those that move with care, and not care with conditions, they genuinely care. And that's not gonna be everybody. Let's not get it fucked up. That ain't everybody. But I think those that honestly care are getting this internal urging, even if it is to quietly do something. They know inside their mind what it is that they are capable of doing and not. And so they're not dismissing it. That ain't none of my business. Ain't got nothing to do with me. They not doing that no more. It's dwindling like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do. Let me just plan it and see what happens. Let me become emotionally invested and see what happens. Let's see how far my care takes this. Let's see what happens. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, I'm trying my best to get out of the mode of thinking that says there's just going to be these one or two supernatural heroes and leadership that come. No, I think this is going to be an all hands on deck with regards to those that genuinely, authentically care. They know the fucking game is rigged. So they no longer going to be looking at the homeless person like, man, get the fuck out of here. No, no, no. Some folks barely know how to read, let alone have workable skills. And I was just asking my girlfriend not too long ago, so does that mean they don't eat or have shelter? Are we honestly going to continue to punish folks for their poverty? Are we honestly going to continue to carry on the lopsided ass notions to say it's your fault you're here? We really truly going to do that continuously? Okay, well, I'm going to leave it with the goddess Nzambi. I'm curious. Yeah. So, the god this is interesting because I do think about the goddess and is that this is incredible about her being a knight of pentacles because the goddess Nzambi walked the earth reincarnated as this old beggar woman. And this is another sample and example that I use on a regular basis because her story fascinates me, it provokes me, it encourages me, it motivates me when I think about how she continued. She was a shape shifter, and she would always shift herself into this old beggar woman, and she would go around just to see who would care for her and who would shut their door in her face. Needless to say, the penalty, how about this? The consequences, because remember, consequences are neutral. Good consequences, bad consequences. But it's all on, it takes shape of the circumstances, the context, right? So those that accommodated her, those with a caring heart, those with a sharing heart, they got double, triple whatever it is that they provided her. Those that shut the door in her face, oh yeah, they had a different set of consequences. And me personally, I'm already a generous spirit. So to have that story be personified, it has forever chimed in with me. Because we don't always know who the homeless person is. We don't always know who the penniless person is. We have no idea what they reincarnated into this earthling experience to do. While we continue to chase all that's glittery, failing to realize not all gold glitters. Everything that glitters is not gold, nor does all gold glitter. Okay, that was beautiful. I like it. I like it. Interesting. I think from now on, I'm going to I'm going to like just meditate and do a little intro summary and just see how the cards fall. Um, yeah, I'm going to take that up. And remember, this is from the Council of the Pixie Principles on behalf of the Animal Spirit Totem. So, the bylaws of the Animal Spirit Totem. And let me just say this real quick. Mhm. In my opinion, I believe the animal spirits, the totems, the tribes of the animal spirits are feeling neglected. It's almost like they on the bench saying, "Put me in the game, coach." That's what it makes me feel like sometimes. I know my panther spirit feels that all the time. I even mentioned this to my dad not too long ago. And I think I might have mentioned this in another segment. Yes, I did. It's in a segment that I recorded but haven't posted. And I said, or is it in the last one I just posted? Either way, I said, at this age 50, I wonder exactly what type of person I would be if I was this age in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. I wonder. And he said, "You would be an aggressive one." I said, "No doubt. No doubt. I know that I would have tackled the civil rights movement a little different. I know I would have handled Jim Crow a little different. Now, it would not have been, I think, because I think I'm this rambunctious as a result of all that took place with all the sacrifices and all the paradigm shifting and all the culture rearrangements that were required during that time. I am a result of that. So I know that I would not be this back then, but I think I would be a variation of it because even my dad says it. He's like, "Yeah." So with that in mind, and it sticks with me a lot, who would you have been in the early 70s, this age, 50, in the early 70s? Like, what kind of moves would you have been making? What kind of conversations would you have been having? The people, places, and things, what is it that you would have moved towards or stayed away from? How would you have made sure that the nuances of this trickery remain highlighted? Like, how would you do that? Because it can get lost in the sauce very quickly. Very quickly. Think about the herbs that you put in spaghetti sauce, marinara. Yeah, you can taste it, so you know it's there. But after a while, you will not, not even after a while, the moment it's mixed, it's very hard to separate the salt from the sugar. And yes, I had a Georgia peach of a grandmother. Yes, she put sugar in her spaghetti sauce, and it truly made the difference. And most people who were not used to that would always ask her, "Mozella, what is going on with this beautiful spaghetti?" When I tell you nobody made spaghetti like my grandmother. And for months, folks would talk about her spaghetti. Beautiful thing. And she used fresh herbs. Now, I have the recipe, but somehow, some way, and I've watched her from start to finish many times. I think it's the duration by which I think it's the duration by which she prepared it. My grandmother took her time when she was in that kitchen. She didn't let nobody rush her with nothing that she fixed. And my grandma, she did breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and everything was always good. And you could tell, like, the care. My sister Reese is like that too. So, like, There's a certain kind of way that food is prepared when folks honestly love their artship with food and beverage. You can just and I'm a fat girl. Come on, I know a good cook. I am one myself, but yeah, there's still a difference with and we can fix the same thing. Even me and my sister, we can fix the same thing. But I think in the spices and the duration, the way that it's cooked, the what it is that we know to be true, and then the little bits and pieces that we might let's try this with the expectation that we're gonna just plant it and see what happens. Let's just try this and see what happens. See, my sister, nor my grandma, me either. We're not afraid to see what happens. Let's put these spices in the recipe, see how that go. And then after the fact, we know, okay, that was good. We're gonna keep doing that, or that wasn't. We ain't gonna do that no more. So I do. I believe. Oh, you know what? We're gonna add him. We gonna add him right on into the thing. And I don't think that it's by mistake that all of these are masculine energies, seeing as that we are living in a male dominant society. We still in the patriarchy. And no, I'm not talking about the domesticated versions of guy and girl. No, I'm talking about that policy, the wet signatures. That's still male dominant. So be delightful, be intrigued, be research and developmental with your pain. It could be and can be and will be, it ought to be transmuted into something that is fertilizable, reborn, because that's what death is all about. It's about transformation from birth to death to rebirth. That's the natural order of things. So yeah. Thanks for hanging out with me. I do wish you well.